Hi everyone, this is Rabbit as well, Animation Bliss, and welcome to another Spotlight Cartoon Corner. So today's Spotlight Cartoon today is going to be on Kablam. Now, before I get into my thoughts about this TV series, I would like to let everybody know that new videos will be posted up every Sunday. It could be Sunday morning, Sunday night, or Sunday evening, depending on when I can get the videos posted up. And if you happen to see any videos during the week, then there must have been some anime news that we wanted to cover, and those would be considered special videos. But new videos will be posted up every Sunday. So now let's get into this TV series, Kablam. Now, notice I only have the VHS tape of Kablam because this show doesn't really have a DVD release yet, and I will explain later on about why the show doesn't have a DVD release yet. But Kablam was made in 1996, and basically was like a variety show that shows all these different cartoons, whether they were like failed pilots of certain TV series or something like that. But the show would be hosted by Henry and June. They were two hosts that would host all these cartoons in this one show. And some of the cartoons they used to show on this show was Hen besides Henry June themselves being the host of the show and everything, they show Life with Loopy, Prometheus and Bob, Actually Now, and Sniz and Fondue are some of the shows they feature on there. Now they feature some other cartoons on this show, like they showed the pilot episode Angela Anaconda, and if you seen Angela Anaconda, you notice it aired on Fox Family later on. But hopefully I'll do a review of Angela Anaconda later on. But yeah, Angela Anaconda actually got started on Kablam, and those were some of the anime pilots that made it on Kablam. But the main cartoons I mentioned before, Sniz and Fondue, Prometheus and Bob, Life with Loopy, and Actually Now, those were the four cartoons that showed on Kablam for the longest time or throughout its 4 season run. So those are some cartoons that were came on Kablam. So what are my thoughts about this show? I thought this show was like really creative, especially at the time it came out, because at the time there was no other Nicktoon that was like played as a variety show, and it was really interesting that this was actually a spinoff of All That. So I was like, wow, this is a spinoff of All That, another variety show on Nickelodeon. But yeah, the fact that this was a variety show that shows all kinds of different cartoons, that's what I really liked about the show. I missed a lot of the older cartoon shows like the What a Cartoon Show and Liquid Television that used to show all kinds of different cartoons into one show. And Kablam was another one of those anthology cartoons that showed all these different cartoons, and they had some really good cartoons on there. Like I really enjoyed probably some of my favorite cartoons that were shown on this show was Life with Loopy. I like how weird that particular cartoon was, but how creative it was at the same time. I also enjoy watching Sniz and Fondue. I like the friendly dynamic between Sniz and Fondue, so that was really interesting. I also thought Actually Now was pretty interesting because it was like a show that has all these doll characters be superheroes, so that was pretty interesting. And Prometheus and Bob was pretty interesting too, with having this alien who's trying to teach this caveman about advanced technology on his world, so that was really entertaining. And there were some other cartoons that showed up in there, but I can't remember all of them because there was like a different array of cartoons that would show up once in a blue moon on Kablam. But one of the ones I remember the most was the Angela Anaconda pilot, like I mentioned before, because I used to see Angela Anaconda all the time on Fox Family, so that's how I knew about the Angela Anaconda pilot on Kablam. Um, but yeah, Kablam showed all these different cartoons, and I also like the hosts Henry and June. They were pretty creative hosts. I like how they try to introduce everything in like comic book format. You notice like they're always turning the pages whenever they're trying to introduce the next cartoon. So I like the comic book format they have in introducing the cartoons. And I also like the dynamic between Henry and June. You know, you see June always beat up on Henry, and Henry's like trying to be the straight man and all this. So they were pretty interesting hosts in themselves. Now was there any problems I had with this show? Well, it doesn't have a DVD release. I was hoping this show has a DVD release sometime down the line. Like as I mentioned before, I only got the VHS tape that I recorded when the show originally aired on Nickelodeon, because this show doesn't have a DVD release. And the reason why that is because a lot of the cartoons on here weren't owned by Nickelodeon, so I think it would have been very difficult for Nickelodeon to try to get the rights to cartoons like Life with Loopy and Prometheus and Bob and Actually Now and all those other cartoons that showed up on Kablam. So that's probably why Kablam never got a DVD release, even though I really wish the show had a DVD release, because I want to watch Life with Loopy again, and I want to watch Prometheus and Bob again. I want to see all those cartoons again, and I want to see Henry and June again. So it's a shame that at this moment, at least, that there is no official DVD release of Kablam, because I would love to watch all these cartoons again. It was just such an entertaining show with all these cartoons put together into one show. But despite that, overall, Kablam was such a creative show. I really love this show. I wish again this had a DVD release so I could see all the cartoons again, because this was such a creative series that show all the cartoons. And hopefully one day they will give out a DVD series on Kablam, and we be able to watch shows like Life with Loopy and Prometheus and Bob and Actually Now, all those other cartoons once again when they get their DVD release. So those are my thoughts on Kablam. Have you seen Kablam? And would you like to watch Kablam? That's pretty much my review for Kablam. And be sure to follow us on Twitter so we can keep you updated and new videos we post up. And also like our Facebook page. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbit's Vlog Animation Bliss, and I'll see you later.